To make a long story short, and to dispel a still unfortunately very common myth, testosterone does not increase aggressiveness. Testosterone increases proactivity and the willingness to lean into effort in competitive scenarios. If people are given testosterone, or if you look at people who have different levels of testosterone endogenously that they naturally make, what you'll find is that testosterone tends to increase competitiveness, but not just in aggressive scenarios. So if somebody is already aggressive, giving them testosterone will have the tendency to make them more aggressive. If somebody, however, is very benevolent and altruistic, giving them testosterone will make them more benevolent and altruistic, at least up to a point. Turns out there's evidence that in certain contexts, estrogen can make people more aggressive. Well, what's going on is that testosterone can be converted into estrogen through a process called aromatization. There's an enzyme called aromatase. So the aromatase enzyme converts testosterone into estrogen. And it is actually testosterone aromatized, converted into estrogen, and then binding to these estrogen-containing neurons in the ventromedial hypothalamus that triggers aggression. It is not testosterone itself that triggers aggression. It is testosterone aromatized into estrogen within the brain and binding to these estrogen receptor-containing neurons in the ventromedial hypothalamus that evokes aggression, and dramatic aggression at that. Now, this effect of estrogen causing aggression in the brain is very robust, so much so that if you take a mouse that lacks the aromatase enzyme or a human that lacks the aromatase enzyme, and they do exist, then there is a reduction in overall aggression despite high levels of testosterone. It doesn't matter how much you increase testosterone or any of its other derivatives, you do not observe this aggression. This runs counter to everything that we know and think about the role of testosterone. So the next time somebody says testosterone makes people aggressive, you can say, no, actually, it's estrogen that makes people aggressive, and animals aggressive for that matter. Now, of course, it is the case that because males have relatively less estrogen circulating in their brain and body than females, right, because they have testes, not ovaries, that testosterone is required in the first place in order to be converted into estrogen to activate this aggressive circuit involving these estrogen receptor-containing neurons in the ventromedial hypothalamus.